All praises and glory goes to our mighty power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and salutations unto the legmen feeding the sheep of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, in sincerity and truth with his great gospel coming out of our Bible. Strictly for the elect of the children of Israel, man, the elect of the children of Israel. And MLK was not part of the elect, right? He was not part of the elect. Right, he was part of the 2 goddamn thirds. Malcolm X, a 2 goddamn third. Medgravis, a 2 goddamn third. Right, all these new age Christian black preachers, 2 goddamn thirds. Goddamn it, because why they still holding on to false deities and false ideologies. The Bible said what? Let's get this verse right quick. Here we go. Right, let's go to the book of Isaiah 29 and verse 9. It says, stay yourselves and wonder ye. Right, it says, stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. Right, they stagger, but not with strong drink. Right, it says what? For the Lord have poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep. Right, the Lord done gave you that drink. That mixture, right? And you gotta drink it, because guess what? You can't make yourself part of the elect. You can't make yourself awake. You can't awake yourself out of this state that you Israelites are in, right? It's the Lord who gotta wake you up, right? It says, for the Lord have poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes, and the prophets and your rulers, the seers, have he covered, right? That's why you got these dumbass Christians you follow and these dumbass leaders that you follow. Guess what? They ain't got the sight, right? They ain't got the vision, right? What else does Scripture say? I'm reading the book of Proverbs 29 and 18. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. What it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Right? MLK wasn't giving you a vision. That nigga was giving them bogus ass dreams. Right? He was giving them dreams that the devil done put in his goddamn mind. That's why he told you, I feel like I'm leading my people into a burning house, a burning building, whatever the motherfucker said. Right? Whatever he said. And he was created to be that dude, right? Because it talks about a dreamer of dreams in the scriptures. Right? I'm reading this again, Proverbs 29 and 18. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Right, ain't no vision, ain't no prophecies being talked about in the churches, right? And whatever prophecy they talking about is whatever the white boy done told them, because they underneath that 501c3, right? 501c3 to keep you Jakes stuck in a state of believing into what? White supremacy. Jesus Christ. Follow the system, pay your dues, and be a good servant, and be a good slave, right? That's what's being promoted to you in this system, right? They ain't telling you about the Holy One of Israel. They telling you, take your ass down to Egypt and go look for some help. And they gonna tell you to take that RFID chip when that time comes, right? Them punk ass churches, it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. And that's what happened to MLK. He ended up perishing. Malcolm X ended up perishing. All them ninjas from the 50s and the 60s, these civil rights leaders who integrated into the system of Satan, they end up perishing. And the ones who sold out, guess what? They doing good right now. Jesse Jackass, not Malcolm X, that Farrakhan convict, right? You see that the leader came out of both of them tribes, both of them clans, right? That Black Christian clan and that Islam clan, right? They gave you Jesse Jackass, and then they gave you Louis Farrakhan, right? It says, ye know, ye done fucked up, right? Man, Martin Luther King knew he fucked up. How we know he knew he fucked up? It says, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I fear I am integrating my people into a burning house. Here we go. Let us read here. It says, the burning house. right, quote, is not from a formal speech, but is reflection attributed to Martin Luther King Jr. in a conversation with Harry Belafonte near the end of his life. So he was talking to Harry Belafonte. He said, expressing his fear that the civil rights movement, I thought that was a movement to get us to integrate in a white society, so we could eat in their restaurants, so we could drink from their water fountains, so we could go to their schools, so we could be part of their system, right? It says, let's read it again. It says, the burning house, quote, is not from a formal speech, but is a reflection attributed to Martin Luther King Jr. in a conversation with Harry Belafonte near the end of his life, right? Expressing his fear that the civil rights movement was integrating black people into a fundamentally unjust and broken system. That burning house really means what? A fundamentally unjust and broken system, right? It says, expressing his fear that the civil rights movement was integrating black people into a fundamentally unjust and broken system. This statement reflects his deep concern that integration alone was not enough, and that the nation's systematic racism and economic inequality would continue to cause suffering. He saw this as a call to action, suggesting that they needed to be firemen who would work to dismantle the unjust rather just becoming part of it. No wonder they clapped his ass. Right? No wonder they clapped his ass. I'm going to go to Ecclesiastes 12, verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right? That was MLK's problem. He was trusting who? The enemy. Right? He was trusting the enemy. Right? Not knowing the enemy was using him to suppress the inequality, racism, and the uproars of you Negroes. The uproars of you Negroes. Right? Because it was becoming an issue during those times, right? You Jakes revolting against the system, man, right? Black Panthers, church leaders, marches, right? People stop using Esau's system, the buses, right? That was fucking up the economy, right? These devils said, man, we gotta fix this issue. We need somebody to help us bring us together, right? And that's what happened. They got MLK. It says, never trust thine enemies, Ecclesiasticus, right? Bear with me. Ecclesiasticus, right? Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, right? That's what they did. How you doing, brother? How you doing, Mr. Martin Luther King? We know that. We know you're here to bring peace. You're a church man. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna set you up as the face of black people. Right? And guess what? They start writing his speeches. They start giving him the how can we say, the program to promote. Right? The program to promote, and he start waking up like, man, hey man, this is some bullshit. These devils don't give a fuck about us. We still being killed, robbed, lynched. They letting other crackers from other countries come here. They showing love to other people. They don't show no love to you Negroes, right? It says, though he humbled himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass, right? And thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away, right?
1954's Brown v. Board of Education is often hailed as the Supreme Court ruling that effectively ended segregation in public schools in the United States, except that it didn't. For a significant portion of the 20th century, schools across the United States were legally segregated with separate but not equal facilities and resources for Black 20th century. Schools across the United States were legally segregated with separate but not equal facilities and resources for Black and white students. However, after repeated challenges from the NAACP, the Supreme Court ruled in 1954's Brown v. Board of Education that separate facilities for Blacks and whites were inherently unequal. And in one masterstroke, public school segregation across the United States became technically illegal. The key word in that sentence being technically. See, despite the fact that the Supreme Court ruled that school segregation was now unconstitutional, the court never really provided any sort of guidance as to how to enforce this new desegregation policy. So a lot of school districts just never desegregated. In fact, by 1963, almost 10 years after the Brown v. Board of Education decision was handed down, only 1.2% of Black children in the American South actually attended integrated schools. And what's worse, not a single Black child in Alabama, Mississippi, or South Carolina attended a school with any white children. And to be clear, this wasn't just some children in the American South actually attended integrated schools. And what's worse, not a single Black child in Alabama, Mississippi, or South Carolina attended a school with any white children. And to be clear, this wasn't just a Southern issue. In fact, by 1969, 57% of Black children in northern states attended segregated schools. Clearly, this was an issue that needed to be dealt with, and that issue would be dealt with. Attended segregated schools. Clearly, this was an issue that needed to be dealt with, and that issue would be dealt with on October 29, 1969, when the Supreme Court reached its decision in the Supreme Court case Alexander v. Holmes. In its ruling, the Supreme Court ordered the immediate desegregation of American schools. No more excuses in the middle of a school year. It had to happen immediately, right now. Alexander v. Holmes seismically shifted what American schooling would look like overnight. And nowhere was this felt more than in Mississippi. American Experience's new film, The Harvest, takes a closer look at what it was like to be the first racially integrated class in the small town of Leland, Mississippi.
My mind, I don't have dreams no more. You wanna know what's running through my mind? I don't have dreams no more. I get nightmares. Oh, he just ripped the vest right off. Here it comes. RKO. Good night. Champ just planted him. I am not selling out. I am buying in on the future. You make me sick.
Watch the hips. Everything.
I am not selling out. I am buying in on the future. I am buying in on the future. You make me sick. You think these people care about you? You are nothing without me. You are. I am not selling out. I am buying in on the future. You make me sick. You think these people care about you? You are nothing without me. You want a dream? On Sunday you'll have one, because I'll be putting you to sleep.
Boy, I had to throw that in there, man, because that's been the funniest thing on the internet right now. This MLK WWE. They talk about you sold out. Yeah, that man did sell out. That man did sell out because he's supposed to be a spiritual man. There was nothing spiritual about MLK, right? The spirit is talking about the words coming out of the scriptures. Was he being guided by the voice of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, or was he being guided by Satan? Right? I'm reading the book of Proverbs 22:3. It says, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished." And MLK got punished, right? It says prudent, acting with or showing care and thought for the future, right? That MLK wasn't looking past whatever money they was putting in his pockets, right? Goddamn, because he was getting paid. Right? He was put up on a pedestal, man. You on TV, you the face of black people. He was a king, right? He was a king, right? Martin Luther King, right? He should have seen that the future future that's for Babylon the Great is what? Fire. It's fire, right? This Revelation 18:9. It says, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her." And don't try to use this from MLK. This is talking about these other nations, man. These other nations who've been fucking with Babylon the Great. Been doing good, right? It says, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." Smoke of her burning. And before MLK died, that's what he saw. He saw the smoke of her burning, right? That's why he said, "I'm leading my people into a burning house, burning building," whatever, right? "Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, at last, that great city," right? "That mighty city, for in 1 hour thy judgment is come." For in 1 hour the Lord gonna burn this bitch up, right? And that's why MLK knew he messed up. He knew he messed up, and he was trying to tell his people not to shop with Coca-Cola, not to buy this, not to do this, because he knew that this house was not for his people. Not for his people. And the thing is, he didn't have the 100% truth, man. What about the Native Americans? What about the Hispanics? What about the dispersed of the children of Israel in the four corners of the earth, right? He wasn't speaking about that. Right? He was pushing that bullshit, Christianity. He was drunken off that wine, right? And that's why the Lord took him out. The Lord took him out. Shalom.